Chapter 1: The Seed of Fear. In the desolate town of Ravenswood, nestled amidst eerie fog and shrouded in perpetual gloom, a young man named Victor bore the weight of a harrowing obsession. From the tender tendrils of his earliest memories, he was tormented by a primal terror, an insidious dread that slithered through his veins like a venomous serpent. The very thought of being trapped in a coffin, entombed alive within the suffocating embrace of the earth, sent icy tendrils of fear coursing through his trembling body. Victor's nights were no longer sanctuaries of respite but twisted realms of nocturnal torment. His slumber was invaded by ghastly visions, vivid nightmares that mimicked the horrors of premature burial. He would awaken drenched in cold sweat, his heart racing in wild desperation, gasping for breath as if he had just clawed his way out from beneath the soil. These night terrors left an indelible mark upon his psyche, driving him ever deeper into the abyss of his own tortured mind. Fueling his growing terror, Victor found solace in the macabre tales of premature burial that filled the cobweb-laden shelves of the town's forgotten library. Ancient tomes whispered of tragic souls who met their untimely demise, interred alive within their cold, eternal resting places. He devoured each account with a morbid hunger, his trembling fingers tracing the faded ink as if seeking solace in the horrors of others. But instead, his voracious appetite for knowledge only fueled the flames of his fear, igniting a maddening obsession that consumed his every waking moment. The townsfolk, with their whispered rumors and sidelong glances, grew wary of the young man with haunted eyes. They saw the flickering candle of his sanity gradually dimming, inch by agonizing inch. Victor's existence became a monotonous ritual of isolation, his days spent in solemn solitude, entangled in a web of fear and despair. His mind became a labyrinth of grim possibilities, each thought leading him further down the treacherous path of his own terror. As the years wore on, the weight of his phobia grew heavier, its roots sinking deeper into the fertile soil of his psyche. The very essence of Ravenswood seemed tainted by his dark obsession, a fog of apprehension permeating every shadow, every crooked alleyway. Victor's dreams were no longer his own, but a horrifying dance with the spectre of entrapment, a macabre waltz with the spectre of premature burial. Little did Victor know that his journey into the heart of his fear had only just begun. The seeds of his terrifying odyssey had been planted, and the tendrils of his obsession would entwine themselves around his soul, pulling him inexorably towards the heart-stopping horrors that lay in wait. In the depths of his despair, Victor stood at the precipice of a choice between succumbing to the grip of his phobia or summoning the strength to face the demons that lurked within the tombs of his own mind. And so, with trepidation etched upon his pale countenance and a glimmer of resolve flickering within his eyes, Victor prepared to embark on a journey that would lead him to the very edges of sanity. In the cursed town of Ravenswood, where darkness reigned and nightmares took form, he would confront the macabre truths that lay hidden beneath the earth's surface. Little did he know, the path he tread would unravel a tapestry of chilling tales, weaving together the threads of his own fate with those who had fallen victim to the cruel whims of a premature grave. Chapter 2: The Cursed Bloodline. Victor discovered that his fear of premature burial was not unique to him alone. It ran through the veins of his ancestors, cursed bloodline haunted by the horrors of being buried alive. Generations had suffered this terrible fate, and Victor could not escape the legacy that had befallen his family. Desperate to break the cycle, he delved into his family's dark history, searching for clues and answers that could save him from his impending doom. Victor's quest to uncover the truth about his family's cursed bloodline took him on a dark and foreboding journey into the past. He combed through old records, delved into family archives, and scoured the town's archives for any clues that could lead him to a solution. As he dug deeper, he discovered a harrowing pattern of premature burials that stretched back centuries. It was a gruesome tale of woe and tragedy, and Victor couldn't help but feel the weight of his family's curse bearing down on him. He could hear the whispers of his ancestors, warning him of the same fate that had befallen them. But he refused to give up. He knew that he had to find a way to break the cycle. He spent countless hours poring over old manuscripts and cryptic texts, trying to piece together the puzzle of his family's curse. He became obsessed with the idea that there must be a way to end the cycle, to free himself and his family from the grip of this terrible fate. As he delved deeper, Victor began to realize that there was more to the curse than just the fear of being buried alive. It was as if a malevolent force had taken hold of his family, twisting their minds and driving them to the brink of madness. Victor could feel the tendrils of this darkness creeping closer, threatening to drag him down into the abyss. Despite the mounting pressure, Victor refused to give in. He would not let the curse win. He pored over old texts, seeking out forgotten knowledge that could lead him to salvation. He spent long nights in his family's ancient crypt, listening to the whispers of the dead, hoping to find some clue that could help him break the cycle. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, Victor's search began to take its toll. He could feel the weight of the curse bearing down on him, suffocating him with a sense of dread and despair. His mind became consumed by the fear of premature burial, and he knew that if he didn't find a solution soon, he would be the next victim of the family curse. And so, with a heavy heart and a desperate sense of urgency, Victor continued his quest, determined to find a way to break the curse before it was too late. Chapter 3: The Ghostly Spectre. In the depths of a stormy night, when the wind howled and rain lashed against the windows, Victor's relentless pursuit of salvation from his family's cursed bloodline took a chilling turn. As he sat amidst flickering candlelight, surrounded by ancient tomes and crumbling manuscripts, a sudden presence filled the room, causing the hairs on the back of his neck to stand on end. A spectral figure materialized before him, a woman, ethereal and pale, a form draped in a flowing white gown that seemed to billow despite the absence of wind. Her eyes held an otherworldly glow, and her voice resonated with a haunting echo as she revealed herself as one of Victor's long-deceased ancestors. The apparition spoke of a tragic fate, buried alive, condemned to wander the mortal realm for eternity as a penance for a past transgression. She warned Victor of the impending danger that loomed over him, the same fate that had befallen countless others in their cursed bloodline. But amidst the warning, she offered a glimmer of hope, a cryptic riddle that held the key to breaking the curse. The words of the riddle echoed in Victor's mind, each syllable a whisper from the grave, a thread of salvation dangling before him. He knew that he had to unravel its enigmatic message, to decipher the puzzle that held the power to free him from the clutches of the curse that haunted his family for generations. With determination burning in his eyes and a renewed sense of purpose, Victor embarked on a perilous quest to decipher the riddle and unearth the long-lost solution. Every word, every clue, became etched in his mind as he scoured his family's archives, retracing the steps of his ancestors and seeking hidden knowledge that lay buried within the annals of time. The ghostly spectre, though fleeting in appearance, remained a constant presence in Victor's mind. Her ethereal guidance propelled him forward, a flickering beacon in the darkness, urging him to unravel the secrets that lay dormant in the curse that bound him. He delved deeper into forbidden rituals, consulted obscure texts, and sought the counsel of mystics and sages in his desperate pursuit of answers. The path Victor tread was treacherous, fraught with danger and uncertainty. Shadows whispered, their secrets just beyond his reach, as if mocking his efforts to break free. Yet, he pressed on, fueled by a mixture of determination and fear, knowing that time was running out, and the curse threatened to claim him as its next victim. With each step closer to the riddle's solution, Victor could feel the weight of the curse shifting, its grip on his soul loosening. The pieces of the puzzle began to align, revealing a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. But as he drew nearer to the final revelation, the forces that guarded the curse grew restless, unleashing their wrath upon him. As Chapter 3 of Victor's harrowing journey came to an end, he stood on the precipice of a revelation, teetering between salvation and damnation. The ghostly spectre's cryptic riddle echoed in his mind, its answer just beyond his grasp. With the stakes higher than ever, he steeled himself for the final chapter, where the fate of his bloodline would be decided and the true nature of the curse unveiled. Chapter 4: The Abyss. In the depths of a stormy night, when the wind howled and rain lashed against the windows, Victor's relentless pursuit of salvation from his family's cursed bloodline took a chilling turn. As he sat amidst flickering candlelight, surrounded by ancient tomes and crumbling manuscripts. A sudden presence filled the room, causing the hairs on the back of his neck to stand on end. A spectral figure materialized before him, a woman, ethereal and pale, her form draped in a flowing white gown that seemed to billow despite the absence of wind. Her eyes held an otherworldly glow, and her voice resonated with a haunting echo as she revealed herself as one of Victor's long-deceased ancestors. The apparition spoke of a tragic fate, buried alive, condemned to wander the mortal realm for eternity as a penance for a past transgression. She warned Victor of the impending danger that loomed over him, the same fate that had befallen countless others in their cursed bloodline. But amidst the warning, she offered a glimmer of hope, a cryptic riddle that held the key to breaking the curse. The words of the riddle echoed in Victor's mind, each syllable a whisper from the grave, a thread of salvation dangling before him. He knew that he had to unravel its enigmatic message, to decipher the puzzle that held the power to free him from the clutches of the curse that haunted his family for generations. Following the clues provided by the ghostly spectre, Victor embarked on a dark and treacherous journey. His search led him to forgotten crypts, ancient burial grounds, and abandoned catacombs. In the depths of the night, Victor stood at the entrance of an ancient crypt, its heavy stone doors creaking open with a chilling moan. The air within was thick with a suffocating stillness, carrying the scent of decay and the weight of forgotten souls. As he took his first step into the abyss, the darkness swallowed him whole, enveloping him in its sinister embrace. Torch in hand, Victor ventured deeper into the labyrinthine catacombs, the walls lined with row upon row of crumbling tombstones and fading epitaphs. His every footfall reverberated through the eerie silence, disturbing the spirits that lay dormant in their eternal slumber. Whispers, barely audible, slithered through the air, carried on unseen currents, as if the very walls themselves whispered secrets of the past. The flickering torchlight cast eerie shadows on the ancient stone, their dance a macabre performance that seemed to taunt Victor's fraying nerves. He pressed on, driven by a mix of determination and annoying dread, his mind echoing with the words of the ghostly spectre. The riddle guided his every step, urging him deeper into the bowels of the crypt, closer to the heart of the curse. As he descended further into the abyss, the atmosphere grew colder, the air thick with an ethereal chill that pierced his bones. In the bowels of the forgotten catacombs, where time had woven a tapestry of decay and despair, Victor found himself standing at the precipice of his fate. Before him stretched the abyss, a yawning chasm of impenetrable darkness that seemed to breathe and writhe with unseen horrors. The air was heavy with a palpable sense of dread, as if the very walls recoiled from the malevolence that emanated from the depths. Victor's pulse quickened, his heart pounding in his chest like a drum heralding his impending doom. He hesitated, teetering on the edge of surrender, for he knew that this was the ultimate test, the final crucible that would determine his fate. But his determination burned like a flickering candle in the face of the encroaching darkness. With bated breath and trembling limbs, he steeled himself and stepped forward, his foot hovering above the threshold. As his weight shifted, a gust of cold, stagnant air rose from the abyss, snaking its icy tendrils around his body. The atmosphere itself seemed to conspire against him, whispering wicked secrets and taunting him with the promises of eternal suffering. But Victor refused to be swayed. His resolve, forged in the fires of his ancestors' sins, propelled him forward into the abyss. No sooner had his foot touched the solid ground beyond the threshold than the catacombs erupted in a symphony of haunting whispers and tortured moans. Visions, cruel and deceptive, assaulted his senses. Shadows danced and twisted, their ethereal forms whispering malicious incantations that seeped into his mind like venom. The air grew thick with the stench of decay and the sickly sweet scent of forgotten souls. Victor's breath caught in his throat as his worst fears materialized before him. The faces of his loved ones, distorted by anguish and despair, pleaded for release from their eternal torment. Their voices, a cacophony of anguish, echoed through the cavernous expanse, reverberating off the walls and penetrating his very soul. But he refused to succumb to the torment, his eyes fixed on a distant glimmer of hope. Through the labyrinthine corridors of his mind, he navigated the treacherous illusions, each step a battle against the seductive allure of surrender. The abyss seemed to twist and contort, playing tricks on his senses, warping his perception of reality. Time lost all meaning as he plunged deeper into the depths, his path illuminated by the flickering flames of his determination. At long last, after what felt like an eternity, the darkness began to recede. The abyss relinquished its hold, allowing a sliver of light to pierce the veil of shadows. Victor emerged, battered and weary, but triumphant. The curse that had plagued his bloodline for generations was finally within his grasp, its power weakened by his unwavering resolve. With every step he took away from the abyss, the weight of his burden lightened. The haunting whispers faded into the recesses of his memory, replaced by the whisper of hope and the promise of redemption. Victor's journey was far from over, but in that moment, he knew that he possessed the strength to face whatever lay ahead. As he ascended from the depths of the catacombs, a new dawn broke outside. The world, cloaked in the fragile beauty of morning, welcomed him back into its embrace. Victor emerged, forever changed, ready to confront the challenges that awaited him. The abyss had tested his courage, but he had emerged from its clutches with a newfound resilience, a flame that would guide him on his path to break the curse that had plagued his bloodline.